Alright, another Bitcoin video. I don't need to spend too much time explaining what I'm going to do because most of you probably know by now. But I'm going to go over what has happened since my last video, and then I'll jump into price action and market cipher. So just as a quick recap, the main price action that I've been focusing on, the context that I've been really paying attention to, is this range in between this high marked out with the yellow line and this low. And this has been a very good range to trade so far. We've had some nice trade setups from both ends of the range, and I have talked about both of these before they happened. 2 videos ago, I mentioned this possible short from the high. I saw the bear divs forming a market cipher, and then in my last video, I talked about the possibility of taking out the low with, ideally some confirmations, some bullish divs to go along with it. We'll take a look and see if we got that. But we did now take out the low as well, with, very similar to the high, a very shallow SFP. It barely went down, and then pretty much, very quick reaction following the SFP, just like with the high. And these boxes are all the zones that I was watching in my last video. I put boxes around them to make it, easier to visualize, but yeah, I was watching, the idea of taking out the high again, potentially. At the time, we had just put in this low and had retraced, so, when I made my last video, this was the golden pocket 786 area. So I was looking at that as well. Unfortunately, we didn't quite retrace up to there before we dumped. We only hit the 0.5, it seems. So I would say clearly this idea is no longer valid because we have a completely different golden pocket. We actually already hit the golden pocket, so we're running into some resistance now. And there is probably still going to be resistance up in that area. We still have the value area high up in that zone. And I think there might have been some other confluence with a point of control of this local range. Yeah, so at the time, it was the point of control, but since the point of control has changed, it is now lining up with the larger range point of control, so clearly this 69, 400-ish area is going to be very significant. There's a lot of volume there. And for support, I was looking at this zone, potentially SFPing the wick that we had put in prior to me making my video. That idea didn't work. We didn't see any confirmations as we got to move down there. We basically just shot straight down through there. Sure, we did start to form some bullish divs as we started to exit the box. There were some lower time frame divs, but money flow was continuing lower, and there was no additional confirmations to go along with that. Nothing like a change of market structure. Price action was pretty much just looking bearish. It was going down straight through that zone. There was no confirmation there, so there was no trade. And the last idea I was looking at was this green box down here, basically SFPing the range low. We also had some confluence with the anchored VWAP. If I turn that back on, we hit the anchored VWAP as well. The bearish ones and the bullish one are all lining up in that area, so we hit that zone with some confluence, SFP'd the range low. Now let's see if there were any confirmations on that SFP. We did see 1 hour bull divs, momentum putting in a higher low as price put in a lower low as we SFP'd the low, so we did have confirmations on that SFP. Money flow was still moving to the downside on the 1 hour and on the 30-minute as well. We saw a momentum div, but not money flow. But on the lower time frames, you started to see the 15-minute money flow start curving to the upside. It looks like we might have had 5-minute money flow divs there, and we did. So, yeah, there were definitely confirmations on that low. I did not end up taking this trade, but I did try to take some longs within this range here. None of them ended up staying open for the pump of those, so I did not take a long from that idea, but there were confirmations. So this has been a very good trading range, I have to say. We saw the highs and the lows being respected. We saw confirmations on both, ideas. So now on to price action and the things that I think are significant. So long as we're still trading in this range, I'm still, in general, looking at the same ideas. Obviously, they're going to be modified because we have already taken out the low and the high once, but, who's to say we don't take them out again with some more confirmations in terms of divergences. This is a very decisive range, and, clearly if we break to the upside, I think, safe to say that the target is all-time high. There is another wick high right over here that hasn't been taken out yet, but, the all-time high is much more significant. And if we break to the downside, I think, it opens up the door to retrace in the larger range, maybe coming back down towards, the lows or even taking out the range low. And given how, aggressive the middle of this range has been, we've seen a lot of very aggressive moves. I don't think there's a whole lot of, good trading plans that I can make within this range, at least, around the value area. I'm not really liking any, ideas from there unless it's going to be on a lower time frame. Maybe we have a lower time frame range where I can trade that context. But I think in terms of this yellow range, my main ideas are still basically going to be the high and the low. And pulling that larger fixed range back up, I want to see where this value area low is coming in, because I want to see what kind of support we have if we start breaking this range to the downside. Now, you can look at the value area low. The only issue I have with this is it is right in the middle of a fair value gap. We literally only have one candle in this bit of price action. That's what you call a fair value gap. Basically, you have this zone where only one candle exists in this part. You can look at the value area low. I think there's a good chance that if we come down towards this value area low, we probably come lower than it to fill some of that fair value gap, maybe even coming down to like the opening of this candle. But I have to say, besides the value area low, sure, there's probably a golden pocket somewhere around here too. Maybe that actually lines up around that value area low. And, the golden pocket's a little bit lower than it. The 0.5 lines up with the value area low, so a bit of confluence there. But I really don't love how price looks in this part. It looks like to me if we start like significantly losing value area low, there's a good chance we just come down to try and take out this low. This low was never swept once it was put in, very similar to how the high is right now. This high is untapped, and I'm kind of looking at that as a target for that reason. And you can say the same about the low. So, step by step, I think if we lose this range, we probably come down around value area low. If we lose that, maybe we find support at the golden pocket, but I'm not super confident in it. I think there's a better chance that we start coming back down towards this low. But it's hard to tell right now. We'll have to see how price looks. If, we start getting a move down here and we start like ranging around value area low and then like breaking back up, then I'd say, all right, maybe we're not coming for the low right yet. But then again, the pattern of this range is to front run significant levels. So maybe if we start rotating to the downside, that pattern repeats and we front run, another significant point within this range, which I'm kind of hoping that doesn't happen because I think there may be some juicy trades from these extreme points of the range. I'm really looking at these as like swing trades within the range because this is a massive range. How much in price is this? It's like a $17,000 range. So, personally, I'm kind of hoping that if we start rotating to the downside, that we do end up taking out the low, and hopefully we get some kind of bullish setup there. And same thing kind of goes for the high, even though, I wouldn't really complain if we just broke out above this range and, broke above all-time high. I wouldn't be too upset with that. But if there's a short trade from all-time high, that would be cool as well. And I guess I'll end off with going through Market Cipher. So let's start from the weekly. We do have a red dot on the weekly time frame, so it is unconfirmed. This will confirm on Sunday, so we have 4 days and 4 hours from when I'm recording this. This dot, or at least this weekly candle, will close, and if the red dot is still there, it will confirm, which is looking a little bearish. But as of right now, we do not have any bear divs on the weekly time frame. We still have not printed any bear divs since this push to the upside. Momentum has put in higher highs along with price action. And we have yet to take out all-time highs, so as of right now, momentum is putting in a lower high as prices, which kind of plays into what I've been saying since this all-time high was put in, or at least what I've been thinking. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in a few of my videos at least, but I think it's more of a bullish sign if we don't take out all-time high right now, while we have these massive potential weekly bear divs with momentum and money flow. Momentum, money flow have come down. If we even wick out the high, if we put in, even a slight higher high here, that will be a bearish divergence unless price absolutely breaks out significantly and aggressively, and that is able to bring momentum and money flow with it. But, right now that's seeming like a tall ask. I think it would be more bullish if we continued to consolidate, maybe just continued ranging in here for a little bit and let weekly money flow and momentum cool off a little bit. Maybe money flow comes down towards the zero line, tries to find support. Maybe momentum prints a little trigger wave or something. The first time we've seen momentum below the zero line since back here. And I think that would give us a better chance at, seeing a significant push above all-time high rather than just wicking it out with these nasty looking bear divs. Whereas I think if we, do end up taking out all-time highs soon, and then we begin retracing, and these bear divs really confirm, and we start seeing momentum and money flow continue to turn to the downside, I think that gives us a higher likelihood of actually retracing significantly. Maybe it's just to come down to put in a higher low before trying to push up later. Maybe it's not. Maybe that ends up being a significant top before we end up rotating within this absolutely massive macro range that Bitcoin is in right now. So that's how I'm viewing the weekly. Weekly developments take a long time to play out, and a lot of price action can happen in the meantime. So, when I'm looking at weekly time frame stuff, I'm really speculating a lot. And maybe the next time I look at it, I'll have a different opinion about it. But, right now, it's kind of how I'm feeling about it. I think there's a lot of different scenarios, different ways this can play out. But right now, I think the most bullish one is we either continue ranging here while money flow and momentum kind of cool off a little bit, gear up for the next push to the upside, or we, maybe just begin retracing now. Maybe we start falling down to some lower support, and maybe we don't take out all-time high. I think that would also be, more of a bullish sign because, that would give me reason to think that, hey, maybe we come back up later. Daily time frame continues to look more and more bearish every time I look at it. I've been talking about this downtrend that we've seen with momentum and money flow. It is continuing to pan out. We're still seeing lower highs with momentum, still seeing lower highs with money flow. Even this was a lower high to this, and that actually was a bear div. So was this lower high with momentum. That was a bear div as we took out the yellow range high. So we have bearish signs on the daily, which are also playing into the overall downward direction. Not really a good look. Now it looks like money flow is trying to put up a fight here. It got into the red and now is trying to push back up into the green. We're seeing VWAP put up a little bit of a fight here with this turn to the upside, but it very well may just be another situation like this, right? And, I'd say the one thing that the bulls may have going for them right now is this slight upward direction with money flow, and also technically with momentum, at least on the downside. On the top side of the zero line, it is putting in lower highs. On the bottom side, we have an anchor wave to trigger wave. Maybe momentum comes down to print another higher low compared to this wave, and maybe it kind of continues that funky looking direction. But, I think it's very clear that the bearish appearance of market Cipher is much more apparent than the bullish. And I will quickly look at the 4 hour as well. I don't love how this low looks on the 4 hour. We did get bull divs on the lower time frames. On the 1 hour and 30 minute, we saw momentum bull divs. On the 15 and the 5, we started to see some money flow bull divs. But, the 4 hour, we got an anchor wave here. I think, the only way this could really end up looking really bullish is if we take out the low again with better looking bull divs, or should I say higher time frame bull divs. If we see bull divs on the 4 hour, I think that'd be a better look. At the very least, that would probably make me think that we continue ranging in here, maybe get another push up towards this local range high, rather than us breaking down immediately. But, we are seeing an overall turn to the downside with 4 hour money flow, even a divergence with money flow, and not with momentum, but definitely a div with money flow as we took out the yellow range high. So we had a lot of bear divs on this high, on the daily, on the 4 hour. Now it seems like locally money flow is starting to get a turn to the downside. Before it was kind of flattening out. Now it's dipping towards the zero line. So, again, I have to say the bearish appearance is much stronger looking than the bullish right now. Again, maybe we just continue ranging in here and we keep getting bull divs on the lows and bear divs on the highs. I would not be surprised with that. But gun to my head right now, if I had to say which way I think the range is going to break based on how market Cipher looks right now, I would say to the downside. Unless I was only looking at the weekly time frame, in which case I'd say, well, the better setup on the weekly, or at least the setup that would give us a better play on the weekly right now would be taking out all-time high with bear divs. But I don't really want to do that right now, so I I'm kind of actually hopeful that the daily bearishness pushes us to the downside to continue consolidating before we actually try and hit all-time high, because it's not looking too good right now, I think, if we do take out all-time high. That's pretty much my feelings at the moment. Alright, well, thank you everybody for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and leaving a comment. All that helps to support the channel, and I appreciate it. and I will see you all in the next one.